It is May, the end of May. It's May 31st. Tomorrow's going to be June 1st. And June 1st is Men's Health. Let's talk about colon cancer and what men need to do to find out about colon cancer.
So men get a little bit of reprieve. Women have been doing the cancer screening thing with respect to visits to their gynecologist and then adding on the breast cancer screening thing for a long time.
Right.
So men are kind of late to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're creatures of habit. And so we stay away from the doctor, we stay away from the doctor, we stay away from the doctor, we keep staying away from the doctor.
Right.
So the story over the weekend that I became aware of watching the Indy 500 was one of John Andretti. So of the famous Andretti racing family.
Sure.
He turned 50 4 years ago. Didn't get his colonoscopy. Turned 51, didn't get his colonoscopy. Got his colonoscopy at age 54, at which time they diagnosed him with metastatic colon cancer. And so that's a very, very, very bad diagnosis and has a terrible prognosis. And he's likely not going to be doing too well for too long. But to his credit, he's pushing out the message that I think we all need to hear. And that is, he realizes if he would have gotten a colonoscopy at least 4 years earlier, this would have been caught and would not have been spread across his body to other organs. The prognosis would have been much better. And it's odds is what it is, McGraw and Kelly. It's odds. And you want to give yourself the best odds to be able to potentially find cancer early, especially like colon cancer, because that's where the treatments potentially work.
It's the most treatable one, isn't it? Or early, or?
Well, actually, prostate cancer is pretty darn treatable, and most prostate cancers are pretty slow growing. And so from a men's cancer standpoint, that might be potentially not as bad because all cancers aren't the same. But certainly colon cancer starts as a polyp inside the colon and can be seen on the colonoscopy, which is why the screening is recommended. And when you find it and you biopsy it, and you can actually make that diagnosis.
Because the test is a very reliable test,
Correct.
Is what you're saying.
Test is very reliable.
Right.
And so the recommendation for men is at age 50, if you have no family history of colon cancer and that type of thing, you need to get screened.
All right. I'm 50.
Well, so this is why this came up, McGraw. A birdie told me that we need to talk about McGraw being 50.
Right.
And how can we help him do better?
So I'm 50, and I know I have to go get my prostate checked and my colon checked. And I would rather stick needles in my eye than do either. I'm just being honest.
This is the point.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah. So this is the point, and that's why I bring up. Women likely roll their eyes at us.
Right.
Like, oh man, I've been to the doctor and gone through all this stuff so many times, I can't even tell you.
Right.
And you're being a baby about
I don't
going
know.
in.
Now hold on a second. I don't know if I'm being a baby. Well, maybe I am being a baby. I get it. You want to stick your head in the sand. It's not me. Don't worry about it. I am your target demo. I'm the one you're talking to saying, Millhaven, grow up, get to a doctor. Right?
Yeah. So I don't know about grow up, but I think it's, you've done things before, and all of us have, which potentially have been not that enjoyable for the short term,
right,
or been painful for the short term, for a longer term game. And I think the average life expectancy for a man in this country right now is 78. So you got on average 28 more years left.
Okay, but
right?
hold on a second. Back up a second. Let me because this is important, because me being a somewhat public figure, we talk about all people go and get your health checked and whatever else. So I'm this guy, and yes, I am getting a little sweaty. I have insurance, so that's not the issue. I'm 50. I'm smart enough to know, and I'm educated enough to know I have to get this done. But quite frankly, and I know these are bogus excuses. Who do I call? I don't know which doctor to call. I don't know what to call. I got to deal with my insurance. I don't have time. Is it going to take me 3 weeks? Can't I just go in? Isn't it drive-through? So, there are ridiculously easy barriers to get over, but that's what's going through my head. I'll just deal with it next week.
Correct.
And then a
next
week
week
turns into a year.
Right.
And then another
And
year.
so I
Absolutely.
turned 50 in February. It's
Right.
now June, and I still haven't done anything about it.
So this is why John Andretti's story needs to be thought of. I mean, this guy raced in NASCAR, raced in the Indy 500, part of a famous family, and I don't think the odds are stacked against him that he's going to be 60.
Right.
No way, shape, or form. That'd be a miracle, and that's really sad. And so
Because colon cancer, if you catch it early,
yeah, you can treat it.
you can treat it.
You can treat it.
And you live a normal life thereafter.
So the deal, I think, is with respect to all those excuses, and I understand what you're saying, and I think all of us do this to some point or another. It's about control. I want to control my life, and I'm happy with my life. I got my job, and these are my hours, and this is what I do not during my job, and man, I'm gonna have to go in a hospital.
Right.
And or an outpatient place, and I'm going to have to get an IV, and I'm going to get sedated, and I have to turn over control. And then for the rest of that day, and who knows what they're going to find? What if they find something? Holy mackerel!
Right.
And these things are scary too, for sure. And then people have joked around about what people say under sedation. Wow, they give away their life secrets.
Right.
It's part of the same joke. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, I don't want to do that. And so you add to the excuses. I think the issue should be very clear. You should just say, this is just something I have to do, period. So I don't have a choice. 2, where do you go? So your primary care physician is charged with getting you to the right place, okay? So you don't have to worry about who to call. You just leave a message for your primary care physician and say, look, I think we talked about it, or if we didn't, I heard that I'm due for a colonoscopy. Can you refer me? And you don't have to deal with your insurance either, because they do that.
Right.
And the people doing the colonoscopy will be doing that.
Okay, you're assuming a lot of people have primary care doctors. No, I don't have necessarily a primary care doctor because I'm relatively healthy. I only go to the doctor when I have a cold.
Well, this is a different issue that we could
another topic,
add when
But
you're 50.
I'm not the only one, though.
No, you're not, and so we're using you as an example. So
Right.
we're not picking on
Yeah,
you, but
no, I get it.
you're an example.
Right.
So again, Kelly's been to the doctor for years.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And women have done this all along, and men haven't. So I would say the other thing at age 50 is you need a primary care doctor,
Yes,
and you need to see that person yearly.
Right.
And that includes people who are family practice physicians,
Right.
general internal medicine physicians. These people are primary care doctors and are primarily in charge of navigating these things for you. And this is a resource that you should have for you. So they keep track of. So if you have your colonoscopy this year, you can say, well, okay, I'm going to do it and set it up. And during your 50th year, you will get a colonoscopy. But then the recommendations with respect to when the repeat one is, well, that depends on the results of this colonoscopy. And it could be 3 years away. It could be 5 years away. It could be next year. It could be 10 years. How are you going to keep track of that?
Right.
Because there's going to be other things. You mentioned prostate and kind of following that and checking for blood pressure issues and other things that come up within your 50s and then moving into your 60s. You're not
Right.
going to keep track of all these things. So
Right.
you might remember, I get my colonoscopy at 50, but you need your primary care physician to remind you at 50-something or at 60-something, hey, you need to get another one.
Right.
And so I would say your job and your mission and all of our jobs, and so I'm a year behind you. We need to, A, invest in our lives to include a primary care physician, and B, we need to invest in ourselves to give our chance the best opportunity of moving forward. How can we live the longest?
Right.
Right? How can we live the longest?
So you're saying get over whatever anxieties you have and go get a primary care physician and go get your colon and your prostate checked.
You've had anxieties before. Tell me about your first at bat in college. You walked into that batter's box and you were one confident dude, and there wasn't a bead of sweat on your forehead.
I was so nervous I probably gave myself colon cancer.
Yeah,
then.
so we've all dealt with these very, very anxious moments that just seem like, I'm sure you couldn't even feel the bat in your hands,
Right.
or it felt like it was so heavy that it was 3 sledgehammers and there's no way it was getting off your shoulder. But you dealt with it,
once
right?
it's over.
You dealt
Right,
with it.
right.
And then it became the second at bat and the 20th and the 40th, and you did it.
It's better than just go ahead and do it. It's better than wondering and worrying about it
No,
for the
you're
next
right.
year.
All of this makes sense, and I'm not doing a good job of explaining why men don't do it. I get it. I'm right there with you. So, so you're telling me to go find a primary care doctor and get this taken care of.
Yeah, so and I'll make a promise too, and that is we will follow up on this with you later during the course of the year.
Well, now you're like Charles D'Angelo. You're gonna make me. You're gonna make me do this.
I'm not gonna make you do it. I'm just gonna as we have a weekly relationship here, and now I'm kind of invested in you.
Right.
I need to stay invested, so I'm gonna make sure that you kind of have kept focus on this.
All right.
And but I'll make you the deal.
All right.
You can do it for me next year. So
No,
next
I'll
next
do it
year,
this year. No,
Next
I'll do
year
it
I
this
turn
year.
50, so you can
Oh,
turn
I
it
see what
around.
you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So this isn't a concept, and I'd say, well, you got to do it, and you got to do it.
Right.
Everything's fair. Next year you can bring it right back to me.
All right, this will be Dr. Michael Lim's last appearance on the show.
It was nice knowing you guys.
I will get it done. And June, I'll start the process starting today. I'll go and figure out what I'm doing. Dr. Michael Lim, cardiologist with SLU Care and SSM Health, St. Louis University Hospital. Thanks for keeping us honest.
All right.
Great topic.
Have a
got
great
it.
day, guys.
829.